Hello peoples and persons, and welcome back to another video after 2 years, but I am back, and today with a Master Build video, hopefully a series. I'll actually continue this time. Basically, I'm just going to be going over pretty much more niche decks. Today, I'm going to be going over Dogmatika. Now, I really enjoy playing this deck. I find it really fun, and um, hopefully you guys can get that out of this video too. But I will disclaim, now probably isn't the best time to create this deck with Branded running out rampant in the wild, because this deck revolves around getting rid of your opponent's extra deck, and since sending Branded's extra deck to the graveyard isn't probably too good, I'd probably steer clear. Although you can probably pair this deck with something like Fissure, um, you summon Alba Zoa, use Fissure, and now they're all banished. But that does require you to just open the card, as well as a lot of other cards you just need to open. So can also no, you can't use Shifter. You probably could use Macro Cosmos, but that is a second turn option. So if you want to add Fissure, just open the card. Um, it's probably something you can do. So I can go over the deck list and explain why the cards are in here. So, but first I'm gonna go over the initial combo. Um, you have Ken and Gen. Use one of these to summon it to the other side of the field. Then you have Dogmatika Matrix. When this card is activated, you can add one Dogmatika Ritual monster and one Dogmatika Ritual spell from your deck to your hand. And if your opponent controls a monster, you can add any Dogmatika card from your deck to your hand. So, what you want to grab with this is Dogmatic Calamity, which allows you to summon a ritual monster using any extra deck monster. So use Alba Zoa, then you also use Lilith to summon it, because they're both level 12s, so it allows you just to use that as full cost. And then for every 2 cards in your extra deck, send 1 card from your hand or extra deck to the graveyard. That applies to your opponent. They get to choose. There are times when your opponent just can choose Return All Fusion, like all extra deck monsters to extra deck, and that is a better play than discarding. Or there are times when you can force them to do this and clear the board for lethal. That is the initial combo. We didn't use Ecclesia in that combo, so if we sent off Titaniclad or using Lilith, we can send Ecclesia, add Knighted, Dogmatic Flordelis, the Knighted, add that to hand, then we have a negate, and we have really good attack boosting, because that increases our breakpoints. This makes this 2,000, this makes this 3,000, 4,500. That can now beat over Skull Guardian. It can beat over Dragoon. So this is a really good card. With things like Maximus, just to mill more. I added Ashian to add cards back from the graveyard to the hand. So things like are used Dogmatic Calamity, or maybe something like a Knighted or Maximus. That's why I put it in there. It is pretty niche, but I find it better to have it than not to have it. Reason why we have White Relic in the deck is just have a backup option. It's technically just like a win more. If this is ritual summoned, and you can only ritual summon this with Dogmatica Macabre, target 2 monsters on the field, make one of them gain the attack. So play this, target both Alba Zoa and Relic, and now you have a 4,500 and 4,000 on field. Level 8 or higher Dogmatica monsters can't be destroyed by battle. It doesn't come in that often, because you're probably not going to summon this that often. and it's just another send. What we really want to use Dogmatika Macabre for is when Alba Zoa leaves our field into our graveyard, we can use this, banish Lulu Lilith, and just get it back and use its effect again. So that's really good interaction. Now with this deck, you do kind of have to open Gen, Ecclesia, just to get anywhere close to Alba Zoa. But if you don't, you can always use our Cash Tier package. We always have Nadir Servant. Or if you really bricked hard, like 2 birth, 2 spells, and let's say a Cartesia. You can use a Cartesia, summon Gardna using Salmon Grade as a bridge into Gardna, and you just get another turn. But there aren't too many like flat brick hands in this deck. So we have Effect Veiler here, just so we have things going on the first turn. Same thing with Full Loss, Max C, and Ash Blossom, and which is why we have Crossout Designator here, because they're good targets for Crossout Designator. Although Full Loss probably could be replaced with Perulia, but I think just Full Loss is better. Coldvine, Imperm, also good staples to have in here. Again, and Ecclesia for starter, Cartesia to summon out Grangwignol, and Mysterion. Mysterion banishes one monster, and then it banishes all monsters of the same original type, so it's really good, although it is sometimes only one use. We have Cashier here, so we can have things going on our second turn if we have nothing. Reinforcement grabs our Ken or Gen. Nadir Servant is just send Titaniclad or Entis, grab Ecclesia. I would love to send Herald, but we can only grab White Relic off a Herald and summon it that way if we really don't have anything. That's the reason why Relic's in the deck. Triple Tactics, you can probably cut this, but draw 2 or shuffle a card from your opponent's hand is good. Thrust, sets Punishment, or Blackout Laughs. They're both really good cards, especially in this deck. So running this is pretty good. You can also add more copies of Blackout or more copies of Punishment, although there are bricks. And you can also just add any trap cards you want with this, or any spell cards, because all the spell cards in this deck cannot be targeted by Thrust. We have the 2 ritual spells. We have the 2 spells that you grab off of Cashteria monsters. Dogmatika Matrix, Super Poly, because we have a lot of targets for Super Poly in the deck. Could also Super Poly into Mysterion using opponent's monsters, because it's 1 spellcaster, 1 dragon monster. And with Branded running around as it is, it's a good against that. Although it can't target Mirror Jade, because Mirror Jade is a worm and not a dragon. So for the extra deck, Dentist only here because target 1 card in field, destroy it. Mud Dragon is Super Poly target. Garura also Super Poly target. Titaniclad, Nadir Servant, and the send off of pretty much anything. Mysterion, good in niche circumstances. You probably don't need him. Grangwignol, good. Summons out Lulu Lilith, and stands like a Maulong or something on your opponent's turn. Herald grabs a ritual spell or ritual monster, whichever you need. So like you can play Ecclesia, add Dogmatika Matrix, get Calamity. If you have Nadir Servant, you send that, and then you grab Alba Zoa, and then you have it that way. Maulong returns a card. Lulu Lilith to summon out Alba Zoa. You can summon it out yourself using Grangwignol, and it summons out Ecclesia or Cartesia. Ecclesia grabs Knighted, so you have a negate in hand, or you can summon out a Cartesia, so you have Grand Guignol for next turn. Gardna and Salamangreat, so you don't explode if you have nothing. Little Knight, because it's a good thing if you do have nothing. Trevenant Arms is here for punishment, and it also sends Garura, which then draws you a card. Now, things I wish did work with the deck is pre-preparation of rites. It adds a ritual spell and adds a ritual monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, whose name is mentioned on that spell. So, problem is, Alba Zoa is not listed on either of the spells. Well, like, unlike something like Voiceless Voice, which has prayers, and then specifically lists the things it can summon, like Skull Guardian, which is why you can run that in that deck. And then you have Preparation of Rites, if I can spell. Yeah, you have Preparation of Rites. Add 1 level 7 or lower ritual monster. You can't do that because Alba Zoa. Although you could probably add White Relic, so you can search out another ritual spell. It could be good, but I don't really see it. So, this is a deck list I have. And I have a game that displays pretty much a lot it can do. So I think at the time this was played in Plat because it's during Tempai format and I didn't really want to play that much. But it's still a good display of power. As you see, I get to summon out again on their side, get Dogmatika Matrix, Alba Zoa, Dogmatika Calamity, and I get to just mill them out at the start of my turn 1. Annoying things for this deck include Imperm and Duel. If this got Impermed, then the effect wouldn't go off. I also use my Dogmatika Matrix to look at his extra deck, and I see he has a Phantom U-Bell, get rid of that, and set Birth in Blackout Labs. So he sent all of his stuff, and I get at the end of the turn to use Ecclesia, grab a negate, and then I use Blackout Labs to stop his Spirit of U-Bell. So you can only special summon it at the friendly graveyard. He's running Raigeki for some reason, but it's all good. And he just goes through his plays without getting Spirit of U-Bell. But he's 200 off. So 2 cards in hand, and I have 0 cards on field. But I draw into the Deer Servant, and that's not even the thing that saves me. The thing that saves me is Dogmatika Macabre. So I play Ecclesia, add Maximus, and I use Maximus to get rid of the 2 cards in his deck. Get Alba Zoa by banishing 2 cards, because I use Lilith for the Maximus. Now I send 1 card from the extra deck into the graveyard, so he has 0 cards in his extra deck. Now using Alba Zoa, he's forced to use the other effect, returning the cards, and allowing me to like just win the game. Because I gain another 500 from Knighted, so that gets me 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's an extra 2,500 damage, and I just win the game. Now, this deck is really fun, but with things like Branded, it really hurts the deck because you obviously send cards from the graveyard, and that only helps them. So I'd probably hold off, but I would give this a try if you could. Will this get you to Master 1? Unless you're like someone like Arkema who can play Resonators at a perfect pace somehow, then probably not. This is a fun deck to just climb with. You could add things like Fissure. You could add more Kashtira's to summon out a Rise Heart to get the banish that way, but I'd just wait until Branded is out. But if you can play this well enough, yeah, it could be good, definitely. I give this deck an 8 out of 10 stars. Okay, but thank you for watching, and hopefully if you like it, I'll make another one on some other deck. Leave your suggestions in the comments below, and I may or may not choose one. Okay, goodbye.